Hello everyone, Further Yubby here, and I know I have not posted in a while or uploaded in a while, and this is going to actually be my first video since the UAPB died down, and since I wasn't really into recording for BTR or SEL, I'll give a little rundown of what happened in those. So the UAPB ended up dying down in the seventh week, went straight to playoffs. We made playoffs and ended up getting knocked out in the first round. Wasn't really a big deal to me. I didn't really prep and I really didn't care. I also kind of got hacked out of it, but it's really not that big of a deal. I didn't really care. And I know that's not an excuse, but I still wanted to win, but at the same time, I wasn't too upset about losing. The SEL, we made it to it ended up dying in the eighth week, but we ended up going straight to playoffs. We made it all the way to the finals, and actually, basically 2 turns before the end of the game, we lost because we missed a Zapdos Heat Wave. But that's not the point. This point is for the first round of the BTR playoffs, and this is against my good friend MeowthBae. She was an original member of BTR back seasons 1 through 3. She decided to take season 4 off, and she was going to take this season off, but she actually ended up replacing a guy named Fossy Fox, who ended up leaving mid-season as she came in and took over the team. Didn't really make many transactions. I think she made 1 or 2, but she has been playing incredibly, and she ended up making the playoffs as the number 2 seed in her division, and she has been playing phenomenally, and her team is very scary. I'm not sure the exact rundown of her team, but you'll see the 6 that she brings, and these are the 6 that I have brought. The Pokemon that I'm bringing are Azelf, the Alolan Mug, Miltank, Rotom Wash, Landorus Therian, and the Shaymin. The Pokemon I'm leaving on the bench are the Mega Charizard, the Sylveon, Shelmet, and Dusknoir. But here we are bringing an Electrium Z Azelf with Nasty Plot, Thunderbolt, Psychic, and Shadow Ball. Actually, when we faced Fossy Fox earlier in the season, the Azelf and the Muck are the exact same sets as whenever I'm against him. And that's because they have a really good matchup outside of anything else. Everything else kind of can vary, but these two really had a great matchup. Once I get a Nasty Plot off, I outspeed everything on her team, and there is nothing other than a Scarf Pokemon. And I actually have, as long as I'm at full or after Rocks damage, it's pretty much a roll on anything else that she could Scarf that would actually be able to take me out. And Thunderbolt, Psychic, and Shadow Ball basically has the coverage to beat everything on her team outside of probably an AV Reuniclus, but even then I can set up Nasty Plots, or I can set up a Nasty Plot. And Electrium Z is, she has Suicune and Celesteela and a Lulamola, so it just kind of, it nukes them. Even if the Suicune is at +1 and I get to +2, or +1/+1, and I get to +2, I'm able to OHKO it with a +2 Electrium Z Thunderbolt. The Muck is a Figgy Berry Curse Recycle set. It is Adamant with 152 attack and 108 special defense. That is allowing me to take a lot of special hits. Her team is very specially offensive, and Curse is going to allow me to set up on the physical side. Her biggest threat to me is actually probably, it's between a Dragon Dance Altaria and a Choice Scarf or a Life or Darmanitan. Darmanitan's very scary, and I kind of prepped for it. My really only check is the Miltank, which you'll see right after this Muck, but it's basically just Curse, Recycle, Knock Off, and Poison Jab. Coverage to hit everything on her team, basically, especially after I set up some curses. And she's not really going to be able to take me down other than with Altaria or possibly the Darmanitan. And the Darmanitan, if I set up 2 curses, actually cannot 2-hit KO me. So the next Pokemon I'm bringing is the Miltank. It's Rocky Helmet, Thick Fat, Max HP, Max Defense, Bold Nature. And it's with Toxic, Stealth Rock, Milk Drink, and Seismic Toss. This is going to be my dedicated lead. I hate this set. Absolutely hate it, but I need it. I need it for the Darmanitan. The Darmanitan, if it's bringing Hammer Arm or Superpower, it can easily beat this, but hopefully I'll be able to get Stealth Rocks up and start whittling it down from there on out, and I can actually use my Rotom in order to switch in pretty safely, and possibly my Landorus in order to switch in, depending on certain predictions. But Toxic is there, so nothing can really set up, specifically the Suicune. Stealth Rock, I need Stealth Rocks to wear down the Darmanitan, Milk Drink to continually get health back if needed, and Seismic Toss just because if she brings a bulky Dragon Dance Altaria or possibly a Cotton Guard sub Altaria, I want to be able to have set damage on it, and I want to be able to break substitutes on everything on her team. So that's why I'm bringing Seismic Toss over something like Body Slam or Return or Facade maybe. But next Pokemon that I'm bringing is a Wikiberry Rotom Wash. It is max HP, 144 special attack, and 116 special defense with a calm nature. That special attack allows me to 2-hit KO a max HP Celesteela with Thunderbolt. And the reason I really like this set is because it's bulky enough to where I can take basically a lot of hits from just about everything on her team, and they're not really going to be doing enough damage to where they can 2-hit KO me or a bunch of things like that. So the Wikiberry will probably be able to activate, especially because she does have Hippowdon and she can get the sand up. So that's going to actually help me wear down enough, probably to safely get my berry off. And the thing is, with Rotom Wash, her only ground type is the Hippowdon, so it's not going to want to come in, mostly because she has to know I'm going to carry Hydro Pump or Will-O-Wisp, so it can't really switch in very safely. And even if she switches it in on my Volt Switch, I can just Hydro Pump it. No need to overpredict there, especially because Hippowdon can't really do much to me other than possibly Toxic me. Next, I'm bringing a Pasho Berry Landorus Therian. The Pasho Berry is because she has Suicune and she has a Alomola. And honestly, Scald does enough to Landorus where she probably doesn't need to run the Ice move. But I'm bringing a Gravity, Swords Dance, Earthquake, and U-Turn. Gravity is for the Celesteela and the Rotom Mow. Just allows me to safely click Earthquake as long as I get the Gravity up. Swords Dance was there just because I needed an extra move. I don't know, I might have wanted a Rock Polish set so I could outspeed certain Scarf Mons, or possibly gone bulkier with either Swords Dance or Rock Polish, or possibly put Stealth Rocks there. But I didn't, obviously. And it may kind of bite me in the butt, we'll see. And the last Pokemon we're bringing is Lucky Charms, the SHAYMIN. It's leftovers, natural cure, of course, with max HP and a good amount of bulk in both defense and special defense, and 12 speed. 12 speed is there in case she wants to speed creep. I actually, looking back at it, I wish I would have put, I think it's 28 speed, which would have allowed me to outspeed an unboosted max speed Celesteela, but that actually doesn't come up in the match, so not a big deal, but future reference, I should have done that. And Calm Nature, boosting my special defense. And it is Leech Seed, Seed Flare, Protect, and Toxic. I can Leech Seed everything on her team other than the Rotom Mow, and the Rotom Mow I can get a Toxic off on. The only thing I would be worried about with this set is a Trick Scarf Rotom Mow, because I really don't want my SHAYMIN to be Choice Scarfed. If it is, not really the biggest of deals, because I still would be able to outspeed everything on her team since she has gotten rid of her Scarf, but we will see if that comes up in the match. So we will go right over to there now. This is the match. We have the 6 that we brought, and we see that she brought her Lycanroc Dusk form, the Celesteela, the Rotom Mow, the Suicune, the Altaria, and the Hippowdon. First thoughts, I think she's leading Hippowdon. It's probably going to be a Rock Setter, and probably Earthquake, possibly Toxic, and Slack Off. Altaria, it's a Mega Altaria. It's probably Dragon Dance, considering I really don't have many switch-ins to an offensive Dragon Dance Mega Altaria. Suicune is probably Calm Mind. I'm thinking Rest, Sleep Talk with Scald, because she doesn't really need the ice coverage, unless she was expecting me to bring SHAYMIN, because then it could be a non-Sleep Talk variant, so it could be Calm Mind, Rest, Ice Beam, Scald. I'm thinking that's a Choice Scarf Rotom, probably with Trick, Volt Switch, Leaf Storm and Thunderbolt, or maybe some other coverage move like Defog. Defog's not really coverage, but it could have Defog or Will-O-Wisp or Pain Split if it decides to get rid of its Scarf. Celesteela, I'm thinking, is going to be the Fly EMZ with Air Slash. I'm expecting either Leech Seed, Protect, or Autotomized Sweeper, but then that would be probably a little too many sweepers on our team, so it's probably just going to try and wear my team down. And the Lycanroc, I'm expecting to just be Accelerock, possibly Choice Banded. Choice Banded Stone Edge can hit me kind of hard, but I do have some checks to it. So we will jump right into the match here. I am planning on leading my Miltank. It was my dedicated lead. Even though I'm expecting her to lead Hippowdon, I could have led Shaymin, and I could have led Rotom, but I lead Rotom so many times, I thought she may have seen through it and possibly led Rotom, but she does end up leading with the Hippowdon. I lead with my Miltank. I want to Toxic this before I get Rocks Up. I'm expecting her to just get her Rocks Up, so this now allows me to get my Rocks Up on the second turn. So we're going to see it whittle her down a little bit. Alteria's going to come in. This is a big threat. I want to Toxic this immediately, and that's a problem because I was very close to clicking Seismic Toss here, expecting some sort of a subset, just because of the way she brought it in. She knows she outspeeds me. I probably could have put some more speed into my Miltank, but I really couldn't afford it. But here I go for the Toxic, and she actually reveals to be a subset, so I'm expecting Sub, Dragon Dance, Roost, and just Return. I don't really have a Fairy Resist on my team, so this is going to be a bit of a problem. I Seismic Toss, I break the Sub. Here I probably should have Toxiced again, expecting her to Roost, but I just Seismic Toss. Here I should have just kept Seismic Tossing because it made sure she stayed at +1, or it made it so she had to eventually Roost up. Here she gets another Dragon Dance off because I Toxic into the Sub. I break the Sub, and here we see that she goes for the Return. I calc this. It was a 50% chance that I live, 50% chance she kills me if she is max attack adamant. And we see that she kills me. So that proved to me that she was adamant. I was actually like 2 health points away from not being killed by a max attack Jolly one. So since it killed me, she was most certainly adamant, probably max attack. So it was a 50-50 roll. She got the roll. So I kind of have to go into my landers here and just kind of hope that she messes up. So here I click Earthquake. If she just clicks Return here, it's like a 70% chance to O-kill me, just from her at +1. But that being said, I would be able to go into my Shaymin, but I can't really hit it very hard. I don't have Dazzling Gleam, so I'm struggling here. But thankfully, she Roosts. I Earthquake. She should know that I have a lot of attack investment here, and she switches out into her Celesteela. It's perfectly fine with me. I will Earthquake into nothing. I don't care. I can switch into my Muck at this point. She'll go for the Leech Seed. I'm probably just going to go for the knockoff here. I knock off the Hippowdon's leftovers, do about 25%, 27% to it, and we're just going to see that the Leechy's going to take me to about where rocks are going to activate my berries, so I can switch out into my Shaymin. This can't do much to my Shaymin. She yawns me, so that gives me a free Leech Seed as long as she doesn't go into the Rotom. And I'm fine with my Shaymin falling asleep because as soon as I switch out, I get my Natural Cure, so that's not a big deal at this point. And I actually can really easily take an Air Slash from the Celesteela, even if it's max special attack. I go into my Muck, get my berry back. She goes into the Rotom. She is most certainly scared out here, and I'm able to cycle back my berry as she goes into her Suicune. I don't know what this Suicune is necessarily going to do, but my plan is to just go right into my Shaymin. She makes a nice play and goes for the Ice Beam, does about 34%, and freezes me. Now, that is it's a little unfortunate, just because she's now not scared out by my Shaymin. So I now have to switch out. So I switch out and decide to go right back into my Muck. Or actually, I go into my Rotom because I'm not afraid of getting frozen. And I get my Natural Cure back on the Shaymin. She switches into a Celesteela. I Leech Seed. And as long as this Celesteela has the Leech Seed on it, my Shaymin beats it one-on-one. She doubles into a Rotom as I Protect. Here I Protect again to kind of see what she wants to go for. see if she's Scarf or anything. Since she is Defog, I initially think that she isn't Scarf because she went right for the Defog. I go into my Azelf and I decide to set up the Nasty Plot here to kind of see what she wants to do and what her answer is. And she goes into her Suicune, and like I said, the +2 Gigavolt Havoc will kill the Suicune, so Suicune's down, big threat to my team down, big annoyance down. Here I'm thinking I'm just going to win, but she shows the Scarf Rotom. She has Scarf Defog, so I'm immediately thinking Trick. She killed me. That, I will be honest, that was a roll on my Azelf, but not a big deal. If my Azelf didn't die there, I probably died to an Accelerock from the Lycanroc, so I probably should have scouted for the Leaf Storm, the Scarf specifically, and gone into either my Shaymin or my Muck, but not a big deal. I go into my Landorus, scares that out, I get the Gravity off. So now I get to 2-hit KO the Hippowdon, because she's not going to stand with her Celesteela. Celesteela is a big win condition for her at this point. I'm expecting her to have Giga Drain for my Rotom. And her Rotom comes in. I still have the Gravity up, so I'm free to Earthquake here, but she shows the Scarf Will-O-Wisp, which is great prep on her end, but really annoying for me, and I really hated that Rotom. Here I just U-turn on the Altaria. The U-turn was going to kill the Rotom at that point, and the reason I'm saving my Landorus in the back is because even though I'm burnt, I still have about a 75% chance to kill a non-bulk invested Lycanroc Dusk from full. So and I can get the Intimidate off on it, which is another big thing. And here, if I just Earthquaked again there, I actually would have been able to take out this Altaria. But unfortunately, since I U-turned, I have to go into my Muck. I have to take a big return here, but I am able to kill it, and I only take about 10% total because I get my berry back. But unfortunately, I now have to either recycle my berry back or just kind of switch out and hopefully recycle my berry later on. She goes into her Celesteela. Here, I'm just going to recycle. I know that there's nothing the Celesteela can actually do to kill me. Here, I'll go back one turn. Here, I end up at 56%, and I am slightly under 56%. She needed a max, and by max I mean 100% max roll Supersonic Sky Strike to take out my Muck at this point. But if she was Supersonic Sky Strike, the actually not true, but I switch out because I don't want to gain too much health back on it. So I end up going into my Landorus. I'm fine if she decides to take me out because then I can go into my Rotom, but she Leech Seeds. Good play on her end. Here I decide to U-turn out into my Muck, scouting for the Hidden Power Ice, and she ends up going for the Sky Strike here. Like I said, she needed a max roll. She does not get it, and I recover that off. And here I just get my berry back. I'm actually going to go under 50%. Eat it back up, almost at 100% now. And here I decide to just kind of try and recover or try and get my berry back, and she flinches me once, and she flinches me twice. No berry from my Muck. So I now switch out, just kind of keep it in the back. My Rotom, she really can't do anything to my Rotom. I'm going to Volt Switch out here. And here I'm kind of still bluffing a Scarf because I haven't shown anything other than Volt Switch on my Rotom. So I go into my Muck. On the Rotom, she's scared out because she probably could, I don't think she could kill me with the Rotom there. I probably could have recovered my berry, but I really didn't need it. Now that she killed my Muck, I'm able to go into my Rotom. She still can't do much to me since she showed that her last move was Flash Cannon instead of Giga Drain. Here I'm able to just go for, I could have U-turned there, but I really didn't want to, so I go right into my Rotom, and I'm able to scare it out. I go for the Volt Switch, which would have killed the Celesteela there. I Volt Switch into my Shaymin. Shaymin takes anything from this Rotom. I'm just a little bit afraid of a trick, but if she tricks me, I'm actually going to be able to beat her last two there. So turns out she actually didn't have trick, but I end up killing her Rotom with the Seed Flare. The Leaf Storm Miss did not come into play at all. I'm able to basically Leech Seed the Celesteela, take the Air Slash, and protect back up to where she's at a very low amount of health, and I have a free switch into my Rotom. Rotom takes anything from the Lycanroc and easily takes an Air Slash from the Celesteela. And here I should have gone for a Volt Switch. I go for the Thunderbolt, which was a big misplay, because if she was a banded Lycanroc, she possibly could have won at this point. I would have had to go into my Landorus, got the Intimidate, probably let my Landorus go down. Landorus did not live technically a neutral Stone Edge from the Lycanroc, and neither did my Rotom, but also had to be afraid of her having sword stance, because if she sets up sword stance right here and I let her, she wins. I cannot beat her. So I need to stay in with my Rotom, risk my Rotom. The Celesteal is only at 2%, so my Landers can beat it, my Shaymin can beat it. I'm not worried about that as much, as long as I can hit the Seed Flare with my Shaymin. But she shows that she either doesn't have Stone Edge, or she didn't want to risk it and thought she could kill me there. But thankfully Rotom is bulky enough to where I live a crunch, and she showed me at her sets after the match she didn't have Stone Edge. I believe she was Iron Head, Crunch, Excel Rock, and Swords Dance. So she crunched, I get my berry, which didn't matter, Thunderbolt, and Rotom will clean up this match. And that is the first round of the playoffs. We move on to face Andre, or King Dre, and his Washington Whimsicots. He was the first seed out of his division, and we faced him earlier in the season. We won, but I am awful with rematches, as I have said plenty of times before, and it's looking to be a very good match. I might be able to get a live commentary on it. We will see. That was a really good game to MeowthBae. That was probably one of my favorite matches. The Altaria probably could have swept me from the start if she got the roll with the return, but thankfully she didn't want to risk it and kind of brought me back into the match. So great game again. I loved every second of that game. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you again next week as we take on King Dre. Have a great day. Bye-bye.